Welcome to Assessment Quick Bites, a series of short, informal videos where I explain important concepts in student learning outcomes assessment. I'm Amanda Henricks, Director of Assessment at Mount Wachusett Community College, and today we will be talking about aligning learning outcomes to course assignments. So how do you know that students are learning what you're trying to teach? Well, typically, in my experience, we know what students are learning by their performance on assignments. That's the chance they have to demonstrate their level of mastery over the course content. But how do you know what kinds of assignments to give students? Well, that can come from the course outcomes. When you create a course, you provide learning outcomes, a description of the knowledge, skills, and abilities that students will demonstrate at the end of the course. Making sure that these two things match, outcomes and assignments, is called alignment. It basically means that the things that you're asking students to do in homework or tests or performances or labs actually demonstrate the learning goals that you have set for students. And that's exactly why alignment is important. If your assignments and outcomes aren't aligned, students aren't able to meet your expectations or to show you what they know. That can be very demotivating for students, in addition to being ineffective as a teaching strategy. So what do you need to get started on aligning assignments to outcomes? You need strong, measurable course outcomes and a willingness to adjust assignments as necessary, or to adjust outcomes, but that's another video. I will also recommend the Writing Equity-Minded Learning Outcomes video. I've provided several strategies there for writing strong outcomes. I also really like the Eberly Center site out of Carnegie Mellon. It's a wealth of resources, in particular the page titled Design Your Course. Even if you've been teaching for years, there are great tips and concrete examples that apply across multiple disciplines. The key piece of aligning outcomes to assignments is in the measurable action verb that describes the behavior or skills that the student will demonstrate. This is the behavior piece of the ABCD method from the outcomes video. Choosing measurable verbs means considering the kind of knowledge or skill that you're looking for students to demonstrate. For example, if students need to know the names of all of the bones in the human body, that's a memorization task. Verbs for this can include recall, recognize, identify, or locate. To demonstrate this knowledge, you can use assignments like multiple choice exams or flashcards or fill-in-the-blank activities. However, if they need to be able to diagnose a certain kind of bone fracture, they're going to have to apply what they've learned. And they'll probably also need to know how to apply what they've learned. Means they'll need to be able to determine what kind of diagnosis is applicable, and then probably also what procedure to follow based on that diagnosis. The learning outcome for this assignment should have something more like apply, execute, or implement, or diagnose as well, and you can measure that in a lab or a practicum or a simulation. But what happens if these are misaligned? Well, in this case that I've just given, you may have told students that they'll need to apply all of their knowledge in a real life scenario, but when they show up, you give them a multiple choice test. That's definitely unlikely, but imagine how frustrating something like that would be. Students are frustrated that there was effectively a bait and switch. You told them to prep for one thing and then you give them another. And you're frustrated because everyone's performing so poorly. I will also add that transparency around expectations is a key part of advancing equity. For more on that, you can watch my video on equity-minded assessment. Proper alignment can prevent this kind of frustration. And for more on aligning assignments to outcomes, I do recommend contacting our instructional designer and resident expert, Anne Dumont. She can work with your specific course to ensure that students are able to demonstrate their learning in the most successful way possible. And as always, you can reach me at ahenricks@mwcc.mass.edu or at assessment@mwcc.mass.edu. Until next time.